All right, Brennan Sprague, what's up?
So,
Welcome to the show.
thank you for having me.
So, how you feeling after Spartan Nationals?
A little beat up. My ear, it got a little cut up, but I feel good. Had
Cool.
some pretty tough matches there, but
Yeah, I saw them all, but you look great. You look great in all of them.
yeah,
So, what do you like better, freestyle or folk style?
freestyle.
So, what do you like better about it?
Uh, just like there's more risk to it. Like you get more, you get rewarded for the stuff you do. So
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So, you're a sophomore that started wrestling freshman year. You already qualified for Fargo in both styles. How'd you get
yeah,
this good?
just persistence and like always keep pushing myself and keep going with my coaches, them always pushing me and stuff to be the best.
So, talk about your freshman year.
Freshman year, ended up placing fifth at Catholics, and I was all right for a kid that just started. Wasn't the best there, but I was at first I wasn't into it. It wasn't like I joined the team, but I didn't really like going to like the practices, so I didn't go for a month, and then I kept going, and I started going back once the season started, and then I actually started really liking it, and then the off season, my mom kept putting me into different tournaments to get me better and different clinics and all that and privates with my coaches and stuff. And yeah,
That's cool. So, I think we talked before, and you mentioned that during your freshman year you got hurt. Want to talk about
yeah.
that?
My sophomore year, I got hurt. Um, broke my neck a little bit before Christmas, and I was out for until January 27th. I would like to say. And I came back in time for cities, cut a lot of weight, and I feel like that was my biggest downfall at the end of the season because I cut way too much weight, like to get back down to 101, and I was at like 116, 117, and I ended up making 103 for cities, and then I got hurt again.
So, what does it take to come back from these injuries, especially a broken neck?
Uh, it just takes like I can't go as fast as I was. Like I just had to slow it down, get back into it. And yeah, it's really that because like you can't go back into it because you don't want to get hurt again. That's what I did at the end of my sophomore year. I was right back into it, just how I was, and then I ended up getting hurt again. So once I took a little bit more time off, and then I came back and I was back ready.
Is that when you started to realize how tough you actually are?
Yeah. Uh, when I was wrestling against some pretty good kids, uh, I think the biggest thing that could ever happen to me, my this off season was me going 0-2 at Virginia. I ended up losing to a kid that placed in the state 2 weight classes above me in overtime, and then I ended up losing to a kid by 1 point that placed third or fifth in PA states. So I knew I can compete with them, and I feel like that was my biggest the biggest thing that could happen to me. It's like a wake up call that I can compete. I just have to work harder.
I noticed when you're wrestling, like you said, you're not moving too fast or anything. You're being very tactical, although you are pretty fast, but you really have like good timing. How'd you develop that?
Um, I really just worked on my like shot defense and like to be able to like have if somebody gets on my legs, I know I'm gonna defend it. And especially in folk style, I know if I give up my legs, I don't have to really worry about giving it exposure. But now I've been working on my coaches and privates, moving and not letting people get to my legs, so I can't give up those exposures. I think in my last match at Spartan, I gave up an exposure on trying to defend. So yeah,
Yeah, sometimes it happens and you don't even notice it because it's
yeah.
freestyle. So, speaking of all that, though, talk about freestyle states.
Freestyle states. When I got there, I knew I could compete with all them coming from the last year. I placed third. Um, I knew one of the kids who won it last year at my weight was in my weight again, and I I was pretty like annoyed that I wasn't the 2 seed, but uh, it was fine. But I ended up teching the first kid that I wrestled and teching the next kid, and then pinning the kid, the 2 seed in the semis, and then ended up losing to the 1 seed in a 17-11 match. But I knew I could compete with them from that point on, knowing that that kid placed in the state many times, and I know I can compete with them.
So, where'd you just get this confidence? Did it just come out of nowhere, or
It's I always knew I could compete with them. I've always had like confidence and stuff, but like I've always like been like like I always had that like I wouldn't say like arrogancy, but arrogant that I can take on anybody. I always had like a like, oh, I can beat you, I can do that, I can do this, and I've always had that ever since I was a little kid with competing with my brother and all the sports that we done and stuff.
it's cool? So then, I guess that confidence took you into Northeast Regionals. Talk about that.
Yeah. So when I got into Northeast Regionals, I knew I can compete there, and I ended up doing all right. And when I wrestled, I teched everybody until the quarters. I met the kid that lost to the week before. I ended up losing to him 14-12, and and then I wrestled back to the blood round, and then I was down by 4, but down by 3 with like 10 seconds left. I dumped the kid and I trap arm him, and I got too a little bit too excited. I gave it caution and won. He won on criteria, but it happens.
So now that poses the question: should there be overtime in freestyle? What do you think?
Um, I don't think there should be overtime. I think that um, if it comes down to like that, the only thing that can should affect the criteria is push out or takedown. Not no caution in one. None of that. I think it should just be push out, take down, turn. That should be the only thing that can affect the criteria.
I agree. Yeah, I guess that it tells everybody the whole meaning of the word criteria. Yeah, you're right about that. So then, like, what would happen though? Like, let's say that doesn't affect it. What happens in that match?
I beat him. I would beat him. I know I can beat him. I I was wrestling pretty bad that match in the beginning. I in the beginning at the end of the first period, I believe I was down by 9 or 8. I was like, it always happens when I wrestle. I'm always so bad in the first period, and then I start moving because I'm all warmed up then, and then I just keep going.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, get the feeling out process.
Yeah.
So in the semifinals on the Greco side of things, you hit like a gator roll into a headlock. I actually never saw that before. Is that something that you practiced?
Yeah. Uh, like I always have that feel when I like wrestle. It's like when I wrestle with my partner at school. Um, I always get that feel from him. Like when I'm like going into like a front headlock or like gator roll, and I know he's gonna come up. I always like try to go for it, and like yeah, I've like lately I've been always like hitting like a lot of upper body stuff, like inside trips, headlocks, and body locks and stuff. I've been practicing a lot of that.
Yeah, because you look like when you hit the trips, when you hit those things, you look really real smooth with it. Like you've been practicing it for like years. Right?
Yeah.
So I guess is that part of the confidence too, or
Yeah, I would say that's part of the confidence because I know that since I practice so much, I can succeed in those like those situations.
Now at Spartan Nationals, one of your matches, you hit a really nice suplex. It was like perfect. Is that something
Yeah.
you work on as well?
Um. Not really. I just like I'm very flexible, like with like everything. Like I don't know. I always practice into those positions. I don't ever like practice the suplex, but I always like practice like the ducking underneath, grabbing a body lock and stuff. So I'm always comfortable from those positions because I know I can finish from those.
So now talk about like the way you're wrestling at Spartan Nationals. I saw like the way you're moving. You had that thing where you like move side to side and stuff.
Yeah. I was waiting for them to react because I know my drill partner at school always says it. You shoot, you score. You're gonna score and you're gonna win. But I usually wait for them to shoot, and I just try to crotch lock and then go for all that. But yeah.
So there was something else that happened at Spartan Nationals. While you were on top of the guy when he was in parterre, you took your leg and put it over his neck, and you hit like some crazy turn, and you got exposure. Do you remember that?
Um, was it in one of my duels? The duels?
No, no. It was in I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I had a bar in, and I went to step over. My coach always tells me not to do that, but I just go like how the way I feel. I just go for the
He scored off it.
yeah.
So I noticed at Freestyle States you had like a cast on your hand. You didn't have it at Spartan Nationals. Is your hand like 100% now?
Yeah, it was 100%. I just had like a little bit of like a ligamental strain in my thumb when I was practicing. Well, not when I was practicing, when I was helping my partner warm up at the earlier session for the juniors. I was helping him warm up, and I and then I had to put it on.
And then you continued to wrestle,
Yeah,
and then you qualified for Fargo.
yeah.
So, wow. So you've only been wrestling for like a year. Like, where does all this come from? Because usually
Um,
people wrestling in 1 year don't have all this.
it usually just comes from uh, like the work ethic to continue to go to practice, and you have to also be interested in doing it. Like if you're just going to practice just to stay in shape, you're not going to be as successful as somebody that goes to practice every day and wants to be good.
Right? And talk about some of the coaches at Farrell, like Sites and people like that.
Sites, he helps me more than anybody on the coaching staff. He puts me into privates, all that, and he always pushes me to do like just to keep going when I'm sitting down talking. He's like, "Get up, keep going," all that.
That's good. Yeah, Sites is definitely like that. So now you got all that stuff. The great coaches. You've been looking really great since you've been competing thus far. So you qualify for Fargo for both styles. How do you feel just qualifying for both styles? Like, it seems like a lot of work to wrestle in a tournament like that.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a lot, but I'm thinking if I start doing my weight now, like I'm already on my diet to go down to 13, and I'm gonna try to get down to 8 for weigh-ins, so I can like so then I'm able to go for Greco too at 13. But if I end up just making 13 for freestyle, I'm gonna get up to um get up to like be like 117 ish and go from there.
So how does it work though with Fargo? Like, explain the weigh-in process. I never went to Fargo.
The weighing process, it's very fast. Last year when I went, they everybody's sitting in the stands and they fall down like section by section. Then you go down and you wait on the mat until it's time for maybe there's probably like 60 people on a mat at once, and you scan your card. They get the name, they weigh you in, and then you're good.
So explain like why you're trying to like further explain why you're trying to get to 108 instead of just weighing at 113.
Uh, I'm just trying to think about because I know I can compete if I'm a little bit of drained, but I feel if I go down to there, I'm gonna be good for Greco because I feel I can do very good in Greco. But
Oh, I see. You got to
yeah,
weigh in twice, right?
yeah, I weigh in for Greco and then freestyle.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So the lower you are, the more time you'll have to replenish, and if you're
Yeah.
at the weight, you're gonna book. Yeah, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know it was like that. Right. So besides making the weight, what else? Like, what's the real plan for Fargo?
Uh, obviously the plan is to win it, but my goal is to definitely get on the podium.
Both
I believe
styles?
what did you
In
say?
both styles?
Yes, in both styles. I definitely believe I can. I definitely can place. Is realistically Northeast Regionals. I believe I win Northeast Regionals. If I have a better seed, I win Northeast Regionals.
Do you think that besides Northeast, just overall, the tournaments you competed at thus far, how is that going to play into how you compete this time at Fargo versus the last time you were there?
Last time I was brand new to like the sport. I going into Fargo, I only wrestled freestyle for a month and a half, so I didn't really know, and I lost the round right before the blood round. So I think definitely this year I'm definitely going to be way better than I was. So yeah.
So, well, good luck at Fargo, and are you gonna like look back at the matches you've had so far going into Fargo, or you're just
Uh,
gonna out of sight, out of mind?
yeah. I usually I sit down with my coach and watch some of my matches, see where I need it fixed, and see like where I'm at and like what I have to do. But definitely, I do gotta start looking at some of my matches, my freestyle matches from last year, see what I did wrong, see what I have to fix. Because a lot of the kids last year, I'm gonna be seeing again this year because we're still in cadets.
Right, right. Do you think that you're having such success because you're in cadets, or do you think that it doesn't really matter?
Honestly, I don't think it really matters. I know I'll have success in both. I feel if I competed at 113 in freestyle states as a junior, I think I would still win it.
So, are you gonna be 100% by the time July rolls around?
Yeah, I'm taking my recovery very serious right now. I just got back yesterday from a 5K, and now I'm starting to like just relax, drill, and I'm not really doing that much live. I'm not competing until Fargo, and I'm just really just taking my academics first because I have regents and finals this week and next week, and then and then right after that, I'm just gonna roll right back into it.
Sounds like a plan. So, Brennan Sprague, thanks for coming on. Good luck at Fargo, and based on how you've been looking, yeah, you're right. You definitely can go get a couple stop signs.
Thank you.